Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, FA Well Centers. Let's go over today my favorite blood work markers. If you're getting blood work done, you need to have these tests run. So get out your pen and paper, write these down. We'll be putting them in the notes there as well. And I want you guys to get these done, but also to understand why you're getting them done. Because when you go to your doctor and say, hey, I want my GGT done, they go, oh, you don't have fatty liver. And you're going to say, you don't know that. You don't know if I have fatty liver. You don't know if I need my GGT run. So let's do it and confirm one way or another. So thanks for coming on, guys, and being on this video. Would love going through information, and every single one of you out there needs to know what is going on in their body, and that's the whole point of doing blood work. It's not to just rule out high cholesterol. It's not to rule out diabetes. It's to truly figure out where the underlying imbalances are in your body, and if you know that, then you're going to know what to do differently and where to put that energy to get your body as healthy and vibrant as possible. So pop down below if you guys have run any of these markers and what your numbers are. Get out your latest blood work and let me know if you are seeing these, because a lot of you are not actually going to have these markers in your last blood work unless maybe you're coming to see us. So here we go. The first number that we're going to look at, and remember, when we look at these ranges, even if you do have this marker in your blood work, it's probably not going to be in the right range. Remember, there's this bell curve, and when we look at that bell curve, we say, okay, are you in the okay range, or are you in the optimal range? And so for us, we know that you need to be in the optimal range. You need to be in that range where it is just, man, this is really, really good, and you are healthy. If you're out of that, even if it's still inside their lab range, there is a problem and you need to work on that. So number one marker, if there was only one marker I could test on everybody, it would be what is called ferritin. So write this down, ferritin. And if you are not getting your ferritin tested in your blood work, you need to get this run. And remember, if you are not getting the results that you want, if your doctor will not run the stuff, we can always drop ship that blood kit to your door no matter where you are, and we can run all of these markers with you. We do that with patients all the time. So ferritin is going to be this crucial marker. It is what's called stored iron. So your body has two things with iron. One, what floats around the bloodstream. Two, what gets stored. And so there's Melissa, and her ferritin is at 25. So we know that for women, 40 to 125 is an optimal number. For men, 40 to 150. And so at 25, if somebody's in the 20s, there's absolutely a low iron state going on. If they're in the teens, very much you've got to get on iron right away. And then if you're in the single digits, they might even need some transfusion, some things like that. So Melissa at 25, ferritin is low. If we have low ferritin, that is going to be a really good indicator that you're not absorbing your nutrients like you need to. You may be having some leaky gut. You may be having some bleeding in the digestive tract. There are going to be some issues going on in that digestive tract that you're not getting what you need out of it, and that is what's causing this low iron. Occasionally it'll be because you're actually having really, really heavy bleeding in the menstrual cycles or some other things, but for the most part of it, about 95+%, it is because your gut is not doing what it needs to do. So if we see low ferritin, first thing I'm thinking is leaky gut, malabsorption, digestion issues, things like that. So for Melissa, low ferritin, got to get into that gut. So Barbara, what symbol is that? Is ferritin. Sometimes they will put it as Fe, but most of the time it'll just say ferritin, just like it is. But here's the deal. Most doctors are not running ferritin, and you might get your iron on there, but and that would be the Fe, but you're not going to get your ferritin. So if you don't see it say ferritin specifically on there, you're not getting those results, and you're missing out. Because here's the really important part. Yes, we know low ferritin, and most people know they're on that anemic side, and they've been that way for a while. But what we look at is if it's over 125 in females, over 150 in males, then there's a major inflammatory part to the body, and that's going to mean that vast majority of the time, if ferritin is high, especially 150, 200, 250, 400, anything like that, triglycerides are going to be high. We're going to see C-reactive protein, an inflammatory marker. So Barbara, not on there, not surprising. These are, every single one of our patients get this run, and it's really, really important marker. If I could only run one test on everybody, it would be this ferritin. So C-reactive protein high, triglycerides high. We're looking at potential fatty liver, probably some insulin resistance, some metabolic syndrome. There is some major inflammatory blood sugar liver imbalances going on if ferritin is high. A lot of people just look at it and say, oh, you've got hemochromatosis, and so that's the whole story. But that's not it. That very seldomly is it just a high iron state, but it's usually because of this inflammatory process. And so if I see high ferritin, that's the first marker I see on every one of our blood tests. I know what's going to be going on and what we need to do at that point. So ferritin, if you're not getting it run, request it. If your doctor won't run it, let us know, we can do it. GGT is the next one. GGT, most people, if you look at your blood work, we've got Melissa and Barb there, check yours. I know you guys have yours out. Look for AST and ALT. Those are two liver markers. They shouldn't be over 20. And then if you're lucky, they ran GGT, but the vast majority of people, they do not run GGT on, and that one should not be over 20 as well. So AST and ALT, liver enzymes, just general routine markers. And then the GGTP, good job, Melissa. So the GGT is going to be that marker that really tells us about fatty liver. And if you're over 20, even if it's 19, 20, 21, something like that, your body is creeping into a fatty liver state. And we can't diagnose this off the blood work, but if it is creeping up, we know that that's happening. You can do an ultrasound and you can see some things. So Melissa, GGT at 12, that is good. And again, because that ferritin is low, odds are we're not going to see a GGT high, but you have to go in and work on that gut lining and do some other things as well. So Barb, AST of 27, it shouldn't be over 20. So I'm assuming the ALT, it's only, Barb, and they may not even run your ALT, but if your AST is at 20, GGT is probably creeping up. I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing some triglycerides creep up, some other things as well. So GGT is going to be telling us about fatty liver. That is primarily, in the old days, it was from drinking, but primarily now from blood sugar swings, people going up and down, up and down. Every time we eat too much glucose, we store it. And every time we kick it out, we are kicking out of the liver, in the liver, out of the liver, in the liver, out of the liver, over and over and over. And so what happens is we start actually switching the type of tissue our liver is made out of into more of a fatty liver. Where do you want other liver markers to be, like ALT? ALT, AST, and GGT all under 20. So absolutely keep your eyes on those. But here's the deal. If AST and ALT are high, but GGT is normal, low range, that is usually a viral infection, chronic viral Epstein-Barr virus, something along those lines that's stressing out the liver, but it's not from that blood sugar component. So remember, if your GGT is creeping up, most of the time ALT and AST over 20 is going to be blood sugar as well, but that's a really good marker to see about fatty liver. Number 3 is non-fasting insulin. So when we run blood work with patients, we do it non-fasting, and this is going to tell us just how the body's doing in the real world. You know, if you fast for 12 hours and then see what happens, occasionally you'll pick out a few things. Maybe your glucose is a little high, some things like that. But you're missing a whole lot because the body can compensate. But in real time, we'll see insulin. We don't like it over 10 or 12, and we'll see insulin of 50, 60, 100, 120 of just these huge spikes in insulin because the body goes, oh my gosh, that glucose went up, kick out insulin, pull down the bloodstream, and we're going to get it down. But that doesn't fix anything just by doing that. If anything, it stresses the system out more. insulin is inflammatory. And so this really tells us a good idea of what's going on with potential insulin resistance. And so Melissa's there, the insulin at 4.0. If you're stabilizing your blood sugar really, really well and you're doing okay there, 4.0 is not bad. My concern would be that somebody may be going hypoglycemic if it's at 4.0. So you would definitely want to check that non-fasting insulin, non-fasting glucose. And if you have not started poking your finger, start poking your finger and seeing what your glucose levels are doing throughout the day. But Melissa, just with some of that leaky gut, some of your liver enzymes, insulin, I wouldn't be surprised if you're having some big dips. Let me know what your A1C is as well, and I'll let you know what's going on there. So non-fasting insulin is going to be one of the best indicators of insulin resistance, where that insulin is going to be high through there and go through that process. So number 4 is going to be the C-reactive protein. And this is an inflammatory marker that really everybody needs to be doing, not just somebody that's inflamed and puffy and having all of these issues. They need to be looking at their CRP or C-reactive protein all the time. We want it under 1.0 is optimal. The lab range says anything over 3.0 is an elevated risk for future cardiovascular disease, which could be stroke, heart attack, all types of things. But it also tells us about general inflammation as well. So you need to keep your eye on that inflammatory marker, that C-reactive protein, and that is going to tell us a whole lot. So Melissa, yeah, like I thought, that A1C at 5.0, I'm going to bet that once you get that CGM on, you are going hypoglycemic. 85 to 110 is the optimal range that you want to keep that in. I don't care what levels tells you. This is what you need to keep it in, that 85 to 110. And my guess is that we're going to be seeing some 70s, maybe even some 60s in your blood work. Yeah, Barb. So again, this is very typical. So what Barb's telling us there, she didn't get the CRP, she didn't get the insulin, she didn't get the GGT, she didn't get the ferritin. And so we're missing out on all this information. Sure, you can look at glucose and cholesterol and triglycerides and kind of go, oh, okay, it's high or low or whatever, but you're missing out on so much. And these are just routine markers that cost a couple dollars a piece. This is not some high-tech lab that you have to send everything out to. This is just simple blood chemistry that we can figure things out on. So if you're not getting these markers tested, ask your doctor for it, and if they won't do it, or if you want a different opinion, drop us a line. One of our F8 doctors is sitting here waiting for you to take action, because that's what we love to do. We love to help people. We love to inform them, educate, and get people to that place where they can truly make massive changes. If you guys want more information about thyroid, we're going to be doing a live thyroid workshop this evening at 6 Mountain Standard Time. Send us a direct message, or Brittany, go ahead and put the link down below, and I'll be doing close to an hour in depth about thyroid, everything you ever want to know about underconversion and Hashimoto's and low thyroid state and all these different things, and giving you as much information as we can. You're welcome, Heather. Good to see you. So we can send you a direct message link for that. It's going to be on Zoom. So we'll have an invite. People jump on. You can ask questions at the end. There's that Zoom link right there. So again, love having you guys on. If you got any specific questions, if you get your blood work out, if you download it and have questions about those specific numbers, pop them down below, or if you're watching this later, and I will let you know exactly what's going on. Take care, guys.